Good afternoon, guys. Happy Thursday. Thanks for joining us yesterday for Workout Wednesday. I had a lot of fun recording that video. Got a pretty good workout in afterwards, so hopefully you guys did too. Today, what we're going to be talking about is judgment, and you'll notice we're back inside. We actually had some thunderstorms kind of rolling through, so no outside videos today. What we're going to talk about though is judgment. Now in golf, and if you've been to a first C class before, you'll know that a lot of times we talk about judgment in the sense of controlling our distance, right? That's kind of the theme that we're going to keep today, but we're going to talk about something that relates back to the concepts that we talked about on Tuesday's video, where we talked about grip, okay? Now, a lot of times when people make a grip change or they tweak something in their grip, they tend to hold the club a little bit tighter to compensate. It's kind of like you're unfamiliar with how you're holding the club. You're just subconsciously, this isn't a thing that you're thinking about doing. This is something that just happens, and you increase your grip pressure. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is what is the correct firmness, I guess, if you will, to hold the golf club. Now, you might not think that that's that big of a deal, but I can tell you that what you're looking to do when you hold a golf club is hold it as lightly as you can while still maintaining control. Can anybody guess why you barely want to be holding onto the golf club? Well, the answer is that when you're holding onto the golf club lightly, you have a greater sense of distance, or how hard you need to swing your club in order to get the ball to go to the distance that you want it to. Okay, so we're going to get into a couple of things that you can think about when holding your golf club, and I got a pretty fun little game that you can play either inside or outside with a variety of different clubs. So thank you guys for tuning in. Let's talk about our grip pressure. All right, guys, so our first thing that we're going to get into today is grip pressure, specifically like how tense will our hands be when they're on a golf club. Okay, I think the easiest way to think about this, let me grab a club real quick. Easiest way to think about this is on a scale of 1 to 5, or I guess 0 to 5. All right, 5 being squeezing that club as hard as you can, and 0 being that your hands are just barely on there, but it'll fall through if somebody were to push on it or tug on it or anything like that. What we want to do is get our grip at about a 2. I think a good way of describing this would be 0, your hands are touching the club, but they're not holding it. A 1 might be like if somebody gave you a baby bird and you're holding this baby bird so gently, you're barely holding it, okay? And 2, which is how we want our golf grip, is going to be like you're trying to squeeze a tube of toothpaste, but you don't want any toothpaste to come out. You're trying to hold a tube of toothpaste, but no toothpaste is going to get squeezed out. That is a really sweet spot for how hard we want to be holding these golf clubs. And I would hazard a guess that if you guys did that right now with your golf clubs, that would probably feel lighter on grip pressure or on your tension than you're used to holding it. And that's okay. This is something that I constantly go back and reassess, and sometimes at the start of a year or the start of a golf season, my grip pressure will be fine. And then as I get further on into the season, like spring, summer, fall rolls around, if I think back to how I was gripping it in the spring and then look at how I'm currently gripping it, I'm like, wow, my grip pressure like increased substantially. So it's one of those things that I'm constantly looking back on, checking in on. It's one of those fundamentals, just like having a good grip, having your hands on the club properly, kind of how we talked about our, interlock versus overlap. I don't know if you guys remember that lesson from Tuesday, but it's one of those fundamental things that you can go back and check from time to time because it's really important, but over time, you can kind of lose sight of how you're gripping the club. Okay, so remember, one, baby bird, we're not holding it, squeezing it, anything like that. Two, you have a tube of toothpaste in your hand, but you don't want any toothpaste to come out. And that's kind of what we're going for with our golf grip. Okay, a nice like firm grip that very little tension. Okay, so I want you guys to try that at home with your own clubs. See if your tension with your grip, how you're holding your golf club, is about a 2 out of 5 or 4 out of 10, 40%, however you want to think about it. Okay, check on that. See, kind of be analyze, I guess I would say, what you think your current grip strength is, and if you need to reduce it or increase it to get to that sweet spot, that 2 out of 5. Yes. So now that we've kind of assessed our grip strength, seen where it's at, what I want you guys to do is play like a little game at home. You can do this either indoors with a putter and maybe like 5, 6 golf balls, or you can go outside in your backyard with like a sand wedge, pitching wedge, 9-iron, and do this chipping / pitching as well. We don't really want to do this with full swing because it kind of defeats the purpose of the drill. You'll see what I mean in a second. Okay, this game or this activity is called leapfrog. Putting, chipping, pitching, whatever the case is that whatever the kind of shot that you're hitting. Okay, leapfrog essentially means that we're gonna hit our first putt to a goal distance. Let's say that here in my living room, my small space, I'm like from wall to wall. Okay, so from this wall over here, maybe putting to a spot in the middle of my room. Okay, that's about a maybe 6 to 8 foot putt. Okay, so my first putt, I hit it to that spot that I've picked out. It could be a cup, it could be a water bottle, whatever you have handy laying around the house. Okay, the second putt, what I want you to do is try to hit your ball just barely past the first one. I'm talking as small of a margin that you can make it. That's how much I want you to hit it past. And this is going to help you a lot with feeling distances and the difference between putts. Because I bet right now, the first putt and the second putt, even if you get the second putt just a little bit further than the first one, I bet they're going to feel about the same. Now, like your pros, your golfers that have been playing for a long time and are, have just the best feel and the best touch around the greens, I bet they can tell the difference, even if it's this much difference. I bet they can feel that in their stroke, and they can feel that extra power that they're supplying to the ball. I bet their grip strength is also in that 2 out of 5 range. It's really close to there. So while you guys are doing this, think about your grip strength, okay? Because even on longer putts, you still want that light grip strength so you can feel that distance. You don't need to increase your tension with how long the stroke gets. Should be the same throughout for a 6-foot putt or a 30-foot putt. Okay, so back to our game, leapfrog. We hit our first putt to our target. Second putt, a little further. Third putt, a little further. Fourth putt, a little further. You guys are getting the idea, right? So that our putts leapfrog each other. Okay? You can do this with chipping or pitching in the backyard as well. Hit your first pitch, try to go about a foot past where your first ball ended up with your second one, third one, fourth one. The idea here, guys, is that I think all of you, if you had enough space, you could leapfrog with 100% accuracy. And what I mean is you could hit your first putt, hit the second one, 8-foot pass just to be sure that it goes further. Hit this third one 8 foot past the second one, right? It's like I said before, we want these leapfrogs to be as small as possible. So if you could, in a space like I have here, a very small space, if I could get 5 or 6 leapfrogs from the middle of my room until I hit the wall, that would be really good for me because I'm getting 6 to 8 putts in about a 6 to 8 foot space. So each ball is rolling by the previous ball by about a foot. That's amazing. That's kind of the idea behind this, is that can you get so good with your distance control and your feel and your touch and your judgment on how hard you need to hit the ball that you can squeeze a bunch of putts in a very small space. Okay, so give that a try, guys. Let me know how it goes. I'd be curious if you could measure how many leapfrogs you get in a certain amount of space, and then let me know if you're putting, chipping, pitching, that type of thing. All right, good luck. All of this grip tension, grip strength, feeling the distance on the putts or on the chips or the pitches, whatever you're doing in your leapfrog game, all of this relates back to judgment. So in golf, a lot of times, and if you've been to a first tee lesson, like you've heard this probably hundreds of times, we talk about judging distance. So you have to look at a shot you're about to hit, and you have to determine what swing do I need for this shot. Okay? A lot of times when I ask kids, what's judgment? Can you guys give me a definition for what judgment is? A lot of kids will say, oh, is that like judging somebody? Like you don't know a person and you make assumptions in your head about them. And while that is how that word is used sometimes, what we're really talking about in first tee and in golf is choices, right? Judgment is your ability to see a situation, see possible outcomes from that situation, and then make the right choice. So when we say that somebody's using good judgment, they are seeing a situation, they are making the right choice, and they're either successful or, like in a classroom type setting, not getting in trouble. So like good judgment might be that if the teacher's talking, you're not talking and taking notes. Good judgment might be that if you're in the cafeteria and you have a mess that you made from your lunch, picking up your mess and then throwing it in the trash, right? We talk about respect for your environment all the time. Well, almost all of our core values that we talk about, perseverance, responsibility, honesty, integrity, sportsmanship, all of those life skills and core values come back to that idea of judgment, right? Because you have to see a situation and you have to make a choice. You have to make a decision. Are you going to persevere in a tough situation? Are you going to be responsible and tell the teacher that you forgot to do a homework assignment? You know, are you going to be honest instead of lying about something that had happened to you? All of those things, those are examples of good judgment. So while on the golf course, we might be talking about looking at a putt and determining, making the choice of what kind of stroke to put on it. I think that it's so much more beyond golf, right? Yeah, on the golf course, our choice is pretty simple. We want to try to we want to match the swing that we're using with the stroke that with the shot that we have. But outside of golf, it's a little bit more difficult, right? We have to see a situation, think about the possible outcomes, think about what's important to us and what we hold dear to ourselves, and then act based off of that. So my challenge to you guys, besides doing the leapfrog exercise, would be to use good judgment between now and our next episode. And I would love to know about any situations or examples that you showed good judgment. Maybe you listened to a parent who was telling you to do your chores. Maybe you didn't fight with a younger brother or sister when something happens. So let me know about your examples of good judgment. Also, let me know about your leapfrog drill. How many times did you successfully leapfrog your last shot? All right, guys, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.